The power of strategic partners as a lead channel specifically in your business. How does it work? What do we need to do to get it started? And what are some tips and tricks along the way? Well, these are all the things we're going to get into in the episode here today. So, for those of you returning, welcome back. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. And Kay and I sat down and had a bit of a conversation about strategic partnerships. How do we leverage this in business and really talk through what are some first steps that we can take? How do we look for them? What are some of the things that are important to consider when choosing strategic partners? And how do you truly make it a win-win for everyone? So this was a fun one. It was jam-packed with a bunch of little kind of nuggets of wisdom and information to actually take and put into action within your business. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation on strategic partners.
Today, we're talking about strategic partnerships and all that goes along with strategic partnerships, including what are they, how they can benefit you, and how they can benefit the person you're working with. So, hi, Tanner. It's nice to see you today.
Nice to see you as well.
Yeah, let's dive in. I know you and I talked a little bit about strategic partnerships in the past. What are your initial thoughts about them and how they can help you in business?
Yeah, strategic partners has got to be probably one of my favorite, lead channels that most businesses can take advantage of. I think it's one that works particularly well if you're in the service or professional service based kind of businesses, but can work in a lot of different ones out there. And I know over the years it's been a core strategy for both our business and a lot of the businesses that we tend to work with. So I love it. It's also one that on the surface doesn't necessarily take a lot of upfront investment, like financial investment. So if you're newer into business, things like that, it's not like Facebook ads where you got to go, spend money to be able to kind of figure out which ads are working and then be able to scale it from there. Um, but there's a lot of different pieces to it. But I love strategic partners as a lead channel for most businesses.
Well, definitely excited to dive in because it's something that I don't know as much about, but I'm seeing it kind of popping up recently in my business. And so I'm thinking a lot of folks may want some clarity on strategic partnerships and how they work. So what's some of the what's the building blocks for a strategic partnership?
I think, when it comes to strategic partners, are probably first and foremost, we need to define what is a strategic partner. So kind of like it sounds like it's a partnership that is strategic for you and your business as well as for that partner. There's a lot of different things from a referral based thing when it comes to business. Strategic partners tend to be more of a formal or quasi formal kind of arrangement that tends to be a win-win for both parties. That's probably the easiest way that I like to describe strategic partners. So when we kind of start looking at that definition, the foundation, the building blocks then needs to be what's the benefit to the partner? What's the benefit to us? Like how do we structure it as a true win-win relationship and then treat it like a relationship long term? We can get into this a little bit deeper, but I think that where a lot of businesses tend to go wrong when it comes to building strategic partners is, they go find somebody like, yeah, we can be good referral partners. They talk about it. All right, I now know what you do. Oh, you know what I do. Let's send some business. And then kind of nothing ever happens. Like that relationship isn't managed at the same level as you would, say, a client or a customer. So building that relationship along with making sure that it is truly mutually beneficial tends to be some of the basic building blocks that I tend to see on this strategy.
Oh, that is incredible. And that is true. I've seen that in the past as well, where I will have a conversation with someone about, oh, let's partner up on this or let's refer each other, and then nothing happens. And that's something I've run into. And now, as I'm getting further into business, building relationships with strategic partners or potential strategic partners, how would I best go about um, creating those good relationships? What are some of those healthy things to do to sustain that relationship?
Yeah, I think to a degree it may depend on I want to say complexity of your business or your sales funnel. I
Mhm.
don't know if that's necessarily the right terminology, but kind of the way I think about it is if you have, take our business in coaching as an example, like that's on the surface, it seems like I kind of understand it, but I don't really understand it. Like, how do I refer that? So I think when it comes to choosing strategic partners, it's one, who has an audience or a client base that is already kind of the target market that you're looking after. That's a big component of it. And does your services help them make more money, or does it help their client base so that their job is easier? Um, those are a few kind of first components. Then I always encourage, especially if you're in more professional services that are harder to kind of understand, take the strategic partner through the process of what a referral would go through. Like, take them through and experience everything that you do.
Mm.
I think that's a really important part because when it comes to having somebody in general, somebody, whether it's somebody on your team or it's a strategic partner, if somebody's going to be out there kind of selling your service for you, they need to understand it at a high level. They need to kind of feel what that's like. They need to truly experience it, and then then they can actually have some conviction of like, I really trust this. Now I can make some referrals.
Mhm.
So I think that's a big component of it, is actually walking them through the process, helping them gain confidence and credibility in the experience that anyone that they're going to expend their relationship capital to make that referral and hand off a potential lead to you. You want to make sure that relationship is handled with care. And vice versa. I think, if you're building a strategic partnership, you should also go through their process and really understand what they do, so that when you expend relationship capital with people in your network or your clients, as a strategic, handing over to a strategic partner, with confidence what it is, what they're going to get, how that relationship is going to be managed, kind of all those components there.
Those are some really good tips, especially as you get into that world, because I feel there's such a great opportunity with partners because it's kind of like we all grow together. So building and fostering those relationships and understanding where they're coming from, what their offer is, and them understanding what yours is, that's a huge way to like find success in that. Looking at, strategic partnerships, you know, it's like, where do you get started? How do you find them? Do you find them organically? Do you go to networking events? Like, what are some keys to success for finding partners that'll be a good fit?
Ooh, that's a good question. There's two things that come to mind. The first one is, it kind of goes back to, you've got to identify that target market that you're looking to serve first, and then who has that target market, whether it's part of their network or it's part of their client base. And somebody that doesn't have the same like services as you do.
Mhm.
Like, I would never go to another coach and be like, I want to tap into your network and sell the same services. But a CPA, as an example, they tend to work with business owners, things like that. We work with business owners. It's mutually beneficial. So I'd look at like, who has a database or a network of the people that I want to serve, and that may highlight a few potential strategic partners to start reaching out to. And then it's just like any other lead gen strategy. It's making calls, walking up to them, going in their business, whatever it is that you can get in front of them, and just start that natural conversation, and talk about how their services can help your clients or your network, and then be able to kind of go back and forth that way. So that's one way that kind of comes to mind. The other one is, I do really like networking for this,
Mhm.
um, but really specific on the types of groups I'm a part of. So you think of, let's take BNI as an example. Most business owners out there are at least familiar with BNI, whether they've been in it or not. But that to me is not really a networking group. It is more so a strategic partner group, right? You have the same people showing up week after week after week, and you're building long-term relationships with those folks, not necessarily to have them become clients of yours, but to build that relationship so they're comfortable, sharing referrals back and forth. And then you're doing the same thing because you're in the group with them. So I think finding groups like that, BNI, Network in Action is another one that's very similar to that. And
Mhm.
there's a number of different groups out there depending kind of where you are in the world. Um, but that can be a really smart way to start looking at, how do I develop relationships with people who have the ability to refer to me and I can refer to them.
Oh, those are some great ideas. Now, say you're in a really unique kind of niche industry that's not the typical that you'd see at like a networking group or strategic partner group. How would someone go about finding the right group to join, or like especially if it's something unique like a creative group, or say it's musicians or something, how would they go about finding those spaces?
I think the couple things that come to mind here. One, in today's day and age, there's a lot of ways to use different sites to find groups to go try. Um, and I think when it comes to groups in general, to go test out to become strategic partner groups or what have you, I think it's important to go try a bunch of them. And if they're a network that has multiple groups, actually go visit some of the other groups because you want to make sure that you're in the one that has the best target market for you, and they have the ability to be connecting with the types of people that you want to do business with. Um, so first and foremost, that's the big piece of it. The second piece is sometimes as you're going through that process, and if you are in a very niche market, and you can't really find the groups that are going to be like major referrers, then it might be taking one layer back and saying, all right, I'm going to start going to more traditional groups right now with not the intention of finding strategic partners, but there might be people in these groups that know the group I need to be a part of, and I'm going to use my conversation that way of like, hey, I don't want anything from you. All I want is this is specifically what I'm looking for. I'm looking for finding a group of these types of people that tend to congregate and do X, Y, and Z. Have you heard of a group like that before? Because I'd love to be able to connect and kind of do that type of thing. So now you're not asking for a referral. You're not asking for to do business with them. You're asking more for, I'm looking for this. Do you happen to know anyone in your network that can help me find that? And that can be kind of a way to use more traditional groups to start refining down and finding more niche groups.
Oh, that's a great idea because you can kind of like that taking that layer back can just it's like more of a stepping stone to get you to the right place. And so I think that's a such a great tool. Another tool that I've recently discovered was, just going to other events outside of networking that are, industry specific.
Mm-hmm.
And those events, I started to meet other like-minded people and then build relationships with them. And then now down the road, it's been a couple months. It's like all of a sudden there's an opportunity. So sometimes it's like always be planting those good seeds, I feel like, and always be open to talk about your business because you never know who you're going to meet. It might be at something completely that is not like something you're targeting, but it might just be an organic opportunity. How do you feel about organic opportunities and how do you approach those?
Yeah, I mean, I think exactly what you just said kind of sums up the best way to approach that, and that is recognizing that at the end of the day, we're always connecting with people, whether it be at the grocery store or at events that we tend to go to, and you will come across people that are kind of like-minded and potentially could be people to do business with down the road. Obviously, there's you can ask some questions up front to kind of gauge if is this even somebody that I might do business with down the road.
Mhm.
But I think this goes to what can we control. One, always be ready to kind of talk about the things that you need to talk about and ask the right questions of people, etc. But two, grabbing contact information and following up is another big piece. Yeah, you may grab a contact from somebody that could potentially be a strategic partner 6 months from now, and I don't need to go call them every single day after I get their card, but I do want to make a note of like where did I meet them, what were some of the things we talked about, and when am I going to follow up next? Because it may be 3 months from now. I just need to ping them on whether it's email, a text message, Instagram DMs, and just say, hey, was thinking about you the other day. How are things going? Would love to reconnect. And just doing little things like that will keep kind of those more organic conversations going. Um, but that allows you to kind of put a structure and a plan around it. Like how many people am I going out and am I meeting today, and what's the follow up process? Because some things will hit right away, some things will take a much longer period of time.
Mhm.
But being able to be consistent with, I know that if the leading indicator is I'm meeting with 5 potential people that could be strategic partners every single week, then I know that after X number of meetings, the likelihood of us taking some level of next action towards becoming a strategic partner goes up. And now I can just start to kind of engineer that to the end result of making that a very profitable channel for your business and in acquiring new customers.
Oh, these are some great tips. I'm absolutely excited to integrate more of this into my business. As you know, everyone who's watching, it's a great way. I always say two heads are better than one. And sometimes it's nice to just have those partners in your corner, especially in business when it can be a lonely place. You can feel kind of, alone in it. So you have those partners that really can help you all thrive. So thank you so much, Tanner, for this great conversation.
It was a blast.